Hi, my name is Megan Cottrell. I attempted suicide in 2009, and now I am an avid supporter of suicide prevention, and I also volunteer for the suicide prevention hotline.
Hi, I'm Autumn, and I don't really know what I would define my story as.
Hey, I'm Tiger. I'm a second year here at the RUOK University, and I both struggled with thoughts of suicide as well as losing friends to suicide.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts for about 7 years now, and it's really difficult to talk about, and it has been for a really long time. And during the time that I have thought about suicide, I've also had my brother and one of my best friends attempt it.
My name is Allie, and I lost a friend to suicide.
My name is McGregor, and the message of RUOK Day is something that's very important to me. About 3 years ago, I lost one of my friends to suicide. The message of RUOK Day and reaching out to all of your friends is something that I hold very dear to me. And Buckeye Campaign Against Suicide and their event RUOK Day has really helped me learn how to approach my friends, classmates, and family to ask them, are you doing okay? It's a very simple conversation to have. I think that everybody in college or high school or wherever needs to know how to start that conversation, because it's not as hard and as difficult as you think it is, and it could end up saving yourself a lot of pain in the long run for just a few minutes of awkwardness. So RUOK Day is a very good cause, and I think that everybody should really take to heart its message.
I tried to kill myself just 2 days after I turned 19 years old, and I felt like I was alone in the world. I didn't have anyone to listen to how sad I was feeling or just how hopeless I was. And I was in school and so stressed with work and trying to meet new friends. It was my freshman year of college. I was not living at home anymore. And when people are going through things like that, the greatest thing you can do is just sit down with them and ask, are you okay, and how can I help you? And assure people that they have things to live for and that things do get better and they can get better.
I've struggled with multiple eating disorders, depression, extremely low self-esteem since my freshman year of high school, and more recently panic attacks as well.
So the first experience I've really had with suicide was junior year in high school when my best friend was missing from my math class for about 2 days or so. And so I kept texting him, I'm like, dude, you're missing class, where are you, where are you? And he never got back to me, and I thought it was kind of weird. Usually, if he skipped school, at least he gets back to me by the end of the day, and he's like, oh yeah, I was just, I didn't feel like going to school today, or whatever. But I never got anything.
I myself have never attempted suicide, but my interest in helping others is very based on the struggles I went through. It all started, I'd say, my 8th grade year. I didn't feel good about myself, and the friends that I turned to try to help me thought I was just trying to get attention. So after I lost them, I kind of had nothing, and I started to diet. Got very perfectionist about it to the point where over the summer, before my freshman year of high school, it was never enough unless I was eating less every day than the day before and exercising more. Freshman year starts, and it's the time, everybody's growing up and maturing and finding what they're good at and finding their place within their friends and starting high school, and it's this great new experience, and I was miserable.
After a couple of days, I tried texting his sister, and she told me that he was in the hospital, and she wouldn't tell me why. She said that it was something that he should tell me. And so handed him the phone and I tried asking what happened, and he told me that he tried to kill himself and that someone called the ambulance on him and he's in the hospital being launched for the next few days to make sure that he's okay. And it was just shocking.
My parents finally took me to the hospital. I was 15 years old, 5 feet and 3 inches tall, and 70 pounds. I have lost 30 in 3 months. I remember that I could wrap my thumb and my forefinger all around the top of my arm and they would touch. And when I would work out, I could literally see my heart beating out of my chest because I was so small. And yet, in spite of the fact that I knew, they straight up told me in the hospital that I was dying. My only concern was that I was going to have to eat in a hospital for the next month without exercise. I mean, I guess you could consider that a form of... I wasn't intending to kill myself, but I would have rather been dead than not be thin.
After that, I kind of, tried to take care of my friends to make sure that it would never happen that close again. Unfortunately, senior year, there was another kid, Joe, who ended up killing himself, which was just breathtakingly shocking because that was the one time that I actually saw the signs coming and there was something I could have done about it, but there were circumstances that prevented me from being able to act, I think, and so it's just like losing somebody to suicide is such a shitty feeling, and I would never want anyone to have to deal with that.
On October 27, 2010, my friend Roma committed suicide by hanging. I found out through a friend's text message. People were writing on his Facebook wall saying their goodbyes.
It's even more difficult to see someone that you love and care about go through it and know that they weren't able to talk about it with you and they felt the same way you did. Like you had a reason to be ashamed of who you were because you felt that way. I recently have started going to counseling and me and my friends have been able to share some things with each other that we weren't able to in the past. And it made me realize that there's nothing to be ashamed of and there's nothing to feel bad about. Sometimes you can't help that you feel this way and it's a struggle, but it doesn't make you weak or pathetic or any of those things. You're an incredibly strong person for being able to take those things on and struggle with them and still make it through the day.
In high school, we had been close friends through a math class. He was a lot better at math than me, and he always had kind of a rough personality. After graduation, we kind of lost touch, but in high school, I had kind of become the person that he talked to about everything.
The last time I could say I was truly happy was probably in 8th grade. This year, in the beginning of winter quarter, I had my first spontaneous panic attack. These happened for a few weeks and they were so bad and I felt so out of control that I actually really started to consider suicide if that was going to be what the rest of my life was like.
I could tell that something was a little bit off, but I didn't realize at first that he had depression. One day, late at night, we were having a conversation online and things got really heated and I really didn't know how to deal with it. And he told me that he was planning on harming himself. I didn't have any idea what to do, who to turn to, who to call, and I ended up going to sleep because I didn't know how to contact him after he got offline. In the morning, I went to class and I brought our conversation into security. And from there, they kind of handled it and we didn't really see each other after that.
I realized I really cared about the issue of suicide last year when I was reading stories about it and I stopped and thought to myself that there were so many times in my life I felt so low, but never low enough to actually go through with it, that the fact that people could feel lower to the point where they really wanted to die breaks my heart. And no one should have to feel like that. And nobody should ever have to feel not beautiful, because I know how it feels, and I can tell you that there are a million shades of beautiful in this world that people don't recognize. I want to change that. I don't want anybody to ever have to feel even as low as I did, especially not low enough to get rid of themselves. Because as worthless as you feel, things get better. Things are getting better for me, and I want to help things get better for other people. And that's why I started working with OSU suicide prevention. I want to make a difference, and I want people to know that they're worth it. And that's it.
It's okay to talk about it. It may not seem like it, but with every day it gets a bit easier. And when you have people there to support you, it really can help you. And I think that's really what Are You OK Day is all about, is just learning that the struggle is worth it.
I think that Are You OK Day is a really great thing, and I hope that everyone takes it upon themselves to find out how their friends are doing, and just reach out and help somebody. Just smiling at somebody or asking them how they are could really make their day better.
I've kind of always wondered if maybe I contributed to his inability to cope with things himself by betraying his trust. But I've learned through my participation with Buckeye Campaign Against Suicide and educating myself about suicide prevention that you really need to turn and get help, because you never know what the person really needs unless you've been trained, and a lot of us aren't well equipped to deal with it. And Are You OK Day is about teaching people how to deal with suicide and how to deal with mental health and prevention for these kinds of things. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I think about him every day. And if there was something I could do differently and save his life, I would. But from here on out, I think that because that's not an option, I need to do what I can to teach other people how to save the lives of the ones that they love and ask if they are okay.
My first suicidal thought came when I was 11.
I stopped telling people after a couple failed efforts to get support from friends. It's difficult to explain why I didn't reach out to more people, but the basic reasons are judgment, fear of abandonment, and shame. Then, on top of that, I was taught to keep it to myself.
I didn't choose to be like this any more than one chooses to have kidney failure. This is how I see it. You don't choose to have the disease, and once you have it, you need support and treatment.
Don't blame yourself for even a second, ever. This is just me. This was just me.